Well, it now works. Good evening for whoever is going to watch the live, even after 20 minutes of effective being late. But my internet finally decided that it was time to work. Brand new because optic fiber, and that's why I wasn't here until now. But anyway, for whoever will see this live in time, welcome for the round number 3 of the Pulsing Gear GT3 Championship. And now I wonder if effectively there is anyone on live, as I'm not entirely sure, as I've effectively missed the... Well, not me, but I effectively arrived late at my own schedule. But anyway, we currently have jumped the qualifying, or rather, qualifying was jumped, and we go straight into the race with a Porsche on pole position with Terence Keenan in the 78 Porsche, just ahead of two Hondas, the one of Pozniakov and Polovchuk. On the left, the new graphic is working also, and the orange numbers are the silver. Okay, apparently there are more than two people, which makes me smile. Obviously, sorry for every delay that was caused. But anyway, already a bit of another surprise, as Francesco Saietti is going to start from the pit lane for not positioning himself into the grid on time. He was starting in 5th place, and now he will start all the way down the grid. And little ride into the Eclipse Racing Esports car, as we are currently with Terence Keenan, and the Audi is not working because it's not active. That's why. Now it is. So we are now into the S's. I don't know the qualifying time, I'll be honest. I can check it. I could check it, but I don't want to destroy even more the... what is already a bit of a colossal disaster of a live. But anyway, we go after the S's. Then there is this little uphill section that really gives you the chance to go fast or to go slow, because you can really lose several attempts into this very section, mostly because of the jump on the inside. And then we go into turn 11 that yesterday saw many drivers go straight, or using other drivers as a bit of a wall to advantage themselves. Race that was also not one, but there were two yesterday. Two races for double the action. And if you didn't check it, it was 30 minutes of pure and simple overtaking between the first three drivers, with an exceptional win by surprise. And this very straight here is going to be the massive disadvantage for the Irishman, as obviously he has a Honda behind in his mirrors. You can clearly see them into the distance. And now I'm very curious, because I can do it. I can do this, and I cannot do this. Okay, well, we will never see it then. Or possibly I can do it, but during... OBS, thank you. During a bit of a brief time, where I can effectively jump into the timetable. And then we go into turn 13, the section from 13 to 19 is the most technical of the whole track, and effectively requires you with a huge amount of more than steering power, I would say, effective looseness of the car altogether, because you really need a loose rear and a high number of rotation degrees. Mostly because the differential is probably going to jump left and right to give you the best possible traction. And then we go into turn 19, that gives you the final bump on the inside. It may give you a track limit warning if you go too much on the outside, and then into turn 20. So this was a bit of a effective track ride with the Porsche driver. He has two Hondas behind him, not exactly the best of the best possible scenario for him, but we go with, can we change the camera please? Helicam is terrible in this situation, so we'll go with the further away TV camera for once. We're going into the start finish line, seconds away from the green lights. And green light, and away we go with the best start of the field being taken by a Lamborghini in the background, but also the Porsche completes turn 1 in first place. A bit of a battle between the Ballast Esports Honda, Spodovchuk and Pozniakov, one after the other. There is a Ferrari on the outside going into turn 1. It was, I think it was Kasita on the outside. Garbi makes the position on Zach already into turn 1. The river of cars is coming across the S's. All the way down here, it's Goodway going a bit sideways there, but not losing too many positions. Prisha makes 3 of them, and then there is Jones losing a couple of spots. There is currently an overtake between Longden and I think it is Catania. Catania 97 on the outside, trying now the inside. It's going to be the left hand side. A bit of contact between the two drivers, with the Honda driver having to take the grass route, and then there is a two side-by-side situation into the hairpin, 3 wide into the hairpin, with the Audi making 4 position in a single turn. It will be phenomenal overtaking. It happens, miraculously happens. He loses one of the 4 spots, maybe even 2, as London gets back into 7th place, and then there is Otto just behind. We go into the wing, as you can see, Otto possibly trying the overtake. Also there is an overtake ongoing up in front. We'll still stay with this little fight as Otto goes on the inside. The same idea is for the Aston Martin driver that doesn't go for the move. London gets back on the idea of an overtake on the Audi driver. It doesn't happen. The Aston Martin is back into the side of the Honda driver. That defends a bit of a contact, more than a bit of a contact, and the Honda is spinning out of the circuit. And same goes for Catania, that I think he made the contact with the Honda driver. Now he is all the way down into 28th position. So a terrible situation for the Honda driver. Basically has his race completely destroyed by the Italian just behind him. And then we go up ahead because Zakhtar and Garbi were still approaching a fight. 1 second being taken by Keenan in the very first lap on Polovchuk, and then Pozniakov that follows just behind. There is a bit of a fight there because now Garbi has a bit of a slow exit from turn 20. And it's the Bentley that goes into the inside. The Klein makes the fastest lap, but now it doesn't count for obvious reasons. The Bentley goes on the inside and makes the overtake. Clean and simply. He takes back the inside, so it's possibly the Honda will have to stay behind unless the Honda has the immense traction of 200 cars, and it is the same. And it is the condition I was talking about, but not entirely, as Garbi goes behind the Swedish drivers. A battle of Swedish as Pozniakov makes the position on Polovchuk. Possibly a mistake because he lost several seconds. As I want to see it back, what happened there. He was a bit loose, in fact, on the very exit of the S's, on the inside, and then he gave the position to his teammate that possibly had most of the performance for the team. Bit of a sacrifice there. A personal sacrifice, and then it's why easy making the overtake on the Aston Martin of Alan Brown. Contact between the two drivers, and the 99 is now in 15th position with Catania trying to get back to at least a top 10. Remember the silver drivers and the pro drivers, silver with the orange flake and pro drivers with the green one have different leaderboards and classification, so they don't count for overall position. In the background this is Katie making the overtake on Otto. Both situations are very interesting, but there is Otto currently going a bit wider, possibly going for a bit of a switcheroo, and Katie doesn't entirely, and he stays behind the Italian. And the Swiss driver is now being attacked by a Mercedes just in the background, without the Aston coming across. It's Goodway there. He's possibly trying to make a move whenever it will be possible. Speaking of which, he goes for the move on turn 20. And the 34 is now in front of the 14. 9th place for Goodway. 2nd place. Oh, there has been an overtake there for the lead. There was a whole second and a half between Pozniakov and Keenan. I'm not entirely... I'm very curious to see what happened there, because Keenan possibly lost the car on turn 20. And now Pozniakov, the 86, is in front of the leader. There was a whole second between the two drivers. And now it's just the opposite. But it's clear that the Porsche has a tiny bit more than the Honda driver, as the Ukrainian is still in front of the Irish driver, following very closely behind. I wonder if Kina will go for the overtake on the hairpin. He thinks about it, possibly, but he doesn't go for it. Late braking by both drivers. And the situation there is possibly a bit of space for the Honda behind of Polovchuk to make a move. And in fact, the 82 goes on the outside, takes the slipstream from the teammate, covered inside the very second he makes the overtake. And now there are two cars in front of the RS car, and both of them are a Ballast Esport car. As I also want to go behind some seconds, as I will possibly go for the look on the move there happened. So we see Terence Keenan. He had a ton of advantage. He goes wide and he goes on the bumps massively. That's why he lost a whole second, because of a mistake that he made on the very last corner. And now he is facing the consequences of the action by losing not only the lead but even the second place. Now he has to play it effectively tactical. He has to stay behind and to take advantage of the pits, because it's quite impossible to make a move on the very straight. Meanwhile, Alan Brown doesn't think of it inside. Opposite goals for Ippolito is on the outside, with QL overtaking him, and the Ukrainian is now in 19th place with the Italian that has to stay in front of Chris Jones, overtaking him in the 792. Honda here making the inside into turn 1. Same goes up ahead. Oh, there is Aston going a bit sideways, and the Porsche is also going outside of turn 1, sorry, to avoid the Aston. And thus he loses the position on Jones. This is now trying the overtake on even the Aston just up ahead. For now he stays behind. He stays behind the Ukrainian in the 25. He is a pro driver though, so he is effectively second to last in the classification. But this gives Terence Keenan a bit wider on the hairpin. Massively wide. I was seeing the gap going basically to 0 on the hairpin. And when it is like this, it's either someone making a mistake or someone just not using the brakes. For the Terence Keenan was indeed the one not braking on time. He's on the outside trying to defend on the Ferrari, squeezing the inside. Defensive move from the outside, a very interesting one that works correctly on the Ferrari that has to stay behind, and Cutrale effectively is obliged to stay behind. Oh, he goes a bit wide there on entry, loses a couple of stamps, and possibly will also stay behind the Irish driver into 4th place for the upcoming seconds. Chris Jones in the middle of the track. Wonder what happened there. So the situation here is Chris Jones being tapped by the Porsche. So it was indeed the situation there. It was, I think it was Ippolito kinda giving a revenge act on the overtake that he had. Obviously not on purpose, I hope. For now, Zagdal, this guy here, is the Swedish driver that makes the fastest lap of the session so far, 0.6.5. And this means that he effectively is possibly into the fight for the lead. And same goes for Galbi, so effectively the top 6 is still fighting for the lead while we go into the splitters point of view. Ferrari being driven by Biagio Cutrale, the 913 Ferrari. And For now it stays like this as GT3 makes a move on Chris Schneider for 10th place. After a bit of a start that was seen on the very beginning by his Ferrari going very wide into the outside. And then there is Matthias Prische that has to both see in front of him. You can see the Mercedes number 14, Chris Schneider, and behind, because the Honda Klein is maybe trying it, but there is also an overtake ongoing in the front because Zaktal has to defend against the Honda of Garbi. Switchback move that may happen into the technical section. It doesn't happen here, but in the background there is also a battle for 10th place. So double battle. It will be nice to have a bit of a double screen, but the Audi goes on the inside and the Mercedes has to get the defeat, has to accept it. Unless he goes for the dive into the inside, it doesn't happen. So the Mercedes will go behind Prische. That was the overtake being taken into the horseshoe. They go side by side. A bit of a lost time by both drivers. Chris Schneider on the inside. The Honda more quick on the exit because of a better entry. But he will stay behind nevertheless. And so the the Mercedes 14 will stay in 12th. And meanwhile, up in front, it's Antonino Oddo defending against the Audi. Remember, Audi here is the best car for the balance of performance. Is astonishing. Is overall the best car is the Audi. Second on par with the Porsche is the Honda. While on, I think the next one is possibly. Oh, there has been a contact. Oh, there has been a multiple contact there. While in QL, contact between the two drivers doesn't show me any incident for now, which I'm a bit okay. I can't see the replays either, so it would be completely useless even to look at them. As QL and Di Catania, very much behind the grid because he started last for a penalty being that he received round prior into Alton Park, so he had to start from the very end of the grid. Meanwhile, we go with Antonino Oddo because you can see the white, red, blue, and every colors in between trying the overtake. That doesn't happen. 77 driver. That's a bit of a background for him because that's effectively one driver that I know. Because I was driving with him in the ancient days of Gran Turismo Sport. He was also my teammate back in the days. Fast driver, a bit maybe too prompt to making mistakes, but definitely one that you want on your side because he effectively is quick. Just that sometimes mistakes may happen by the Italian driver. That is now trying the switch and possibly making it into the Assetto Corsa Competizione World. And as I was speaking of the Audi of one of my ancient teammates, I go for another of my teammates, of an effective teammates, because Terence Keenan makes the purple 06.3 by the Irish driver and effectively the fastest lap of the whole field. Meanwhile, Garbi, you saw on the distance there was a bit of a shadow following, even if there is no sun up in the sky. It's cloudy, and it's exactly, I can see it here, 23 degrees, bit of a cold temperature. After the fastest lap, seems like Keenan is having a bit of an issue somewhere around the track because he lost several attempts from Palovchuk in front, and Cotrale obviously made some, as now the gap is 3 times. The Ferrari not very quick on the straight as I thought, possibly needing some downforce to stay on track because Ferrari is a bit of an odd car. I never drove it, but I know that it is the situation for the drivers. Up in front, there is also possibly a battle for the lead by the teammates of the Ballast Esport. And I really hope it doesn't happen, but we may see a battle between teammates, and every time battle between teammates is said, something Barcelona 2016, but we don't talk about it too much, at least. As now Garby is possibly trying the inside on turn 20, goes for the move! Contact between the Swedish drivers, and the Bentley has to stay behind the other Swedish driver. And the 31 is now up in front and in 5th place. So now the Bentley has to either follow him or go for the move. Meanwhile, Prish made the overtake on a Ferrari driver. So silver against silver. Silver against pro. And Kasitash now in the sandwich of the two. But I want to see exactly this one, because I want to see it back. Oh no, I can't. Or can I? Okay, I was trying at least. Okay, the game is not entirely happy with my idea. Okay, it's now back. So we will see again it from the helicam. You can see Honda on the inside utilizes everything that is needed. Bentley possibly is trying and thinking about going on the inside, but the apex was being filled by the Honda. And speaking of cars, I don't know. I wanted to say something. I just don't know what. Speaking of overtakes, there is Cotrale very close to Keenan, that effectively lost some temps, well, more than some, as 06.3 was his best, and the lap after he made a 06.9. So definitely a mistake happened somewhere around. Kasitrash trying the outside on Precious. Klein made the overtake on both drivers. And I want to see it back, this one, because it was a triple away. As you can see, the Honda was trying the overtake there. He makes one, with Kasitrash not trying it, and then the Audi went somewhere. I'm not entirely sure where. I wasn't expecting it, and it was Prisha losing also the position claim, so I suspect he didn't brake altogether. And now we go on the wing, because there is the Audi behind. Prisha is possibly chasing a top 10. Top 10 that would give him also a second place into the silver class. Oh, the Audi a bit wider. Unfortunately, the biggest weakness of the Audi is the word bump. It really can't go over the bumps clearly. But when it... Oh, the Honda! Oh, the Honda is into the wall! Oh, the Honda is completely into the wall! After going sideways into the S's, we will see it back from his point of view. He goes on the S. He goes too quick into the inside, he overcorrects it and goes straight into the wall. And he was in 4th place in his own class. And 3rd place, sorry, in his own class. And now he is in 14th. And for 3rd place on class means he was into the top 10, because he was... Oh, the Odo makes a mistake maybe and touches the Bentley. Contact between the two drivers. Odo remains behind and again makes another contact, and it's a second this time. As I said earlier, unfortunately, biggest weakness for the Italian is the fact that he makes some mistakes, and it was clear there by the fact that he made 2 contacts. We will see it back from the helicam what happened there. Bentley brakes, the Audi doesn't, and takes the Bentley with him. So suspect some penalty will happen. Meanwhile, Krishnader, 14th place battle there. As we go into the splitter cam. And the Aston in front is Catania 97 car. He's on the outside. He doesn't make a move. For now. Little straight coming across. Well, rather than across, coming by. Aston on the middle of the road. Not really taking a side. He takes the inside at the very last moment. The Christian Schneider makes a fake move into the inside to then go into the outside. This was maybe the opposite was the better way around. Faking the outside to go on the inside. Oh, Aston a bit wider. Sparks flying by. He doesn't lose the car too much. Or rather, he doesn't lose the car altogether. And stays in 12th place. Pit entry is now opened. 20 minutes of window where drivers have to make their pit stop. And this is where the sheer speed doesn't count much. Because if you make a mistake in the pits, it's effectively game over. See the battle between the 4 drivers now. What was at the beginning a top 6 battle, it is now just a top 4 for the lead of the race. 3.5 seconds are between Pozniakov and Cutrale. Now 3.3, 3.4, okay, it's the same. It doesn't change too much. Ciao Maurizio! I don't know why I said it like this. Anyway, no, my brain sometimes thinks about the worst possible thing to say. Apparently this is one of the times. Polonchuk goes for the undercut. First driver to go into the pits. Bit of a odd move, I'll be completely honest, because making an undercut now may seem a good idea. But 95% of the drivers didn't pit yet. And this means that this will possibly put him into the traffic, which effectively is not the best of the ideas as we go into the pit stops. And I also want to see... Okay, I may be doing things wrongfully. I'm quite sure, actually. Make me do this one. And this one here. Okay, it's not shown, but at least it works. And then I wanted to make this. So, apologies for me just saying things. Okay, now the pit stop are already on. Polovchuk, Klein and Di Catania, with the pit stop being taken. The question is, will... Don't laugh. Oh, Blanchette. Oh, Blanchette is into the wall! Very slowly, but he went into the wall, into the S's. Number 5 car, we go into the splitter. As he goes left, and then right. And then definitely too much left. And tries to brake, and he goes full head on into the barrier. Now the battle is effectively for the top 5. As Marco Chedi, the Swiss driver, is in front of Zach Talou, is in front of Odo. Sandwich, the Audi sandwich, brought to you by your local burger man. And Zach Talou went a bit wider, over the curbs, over the bumps, or the stoppers. If someone remember the horseshoe curb that was made on the very inside. Okay, the pit stop are working. Yeah. It was extremely loud, to be said. Azad is now back into the back of the Bentley. For now, this is the only battle ongoing on track, as we are approaching the middle part of the race. 6 minutes until the clock goes at the 30 minutes to go. Remember that obviously there are prizes. There is a prize pool for the drivers, as the winner of the silver driver and the pro driver will come home with a pair of gloves and for the pros, a personalized pair of gloves, while for the silver driver it is also a pair of socks. While for the P2 in both classes it is a pair of gloves, as QL is... I missed something. So he is driving normally. And then he's not. I have many questions that I will not ask too much. I'm absolutely out there. But anyway, QL is effectively not in the race anymore, I guess. Not sure why, but he went into the pit. Hope nothing went badly, because he effectively came to a halt. And for now, Oddo, and Zaktal, and Kedi, all of them very quick. Oh, never mind what I said, because Kedi goes into the pits at 34 to go. Even for him, the undercut. Speaking of undercut, I was effectively right saying that Polovchuk didn't make the best of the choices, because now Polovchuk is in the middle of the silver pack, 4.5 seconds away from Sajetti. So he has to hope that no one that everyone in front of him pits as soon as possible, otherwise he will stay behind them and he will lose just the tiny bit of gap that is enough to lose even 2 positions in a single moment. Speaking of Sajetti, he makes the overtake on Masher for 17th place after starting from the pit lane, and he was qualified quite well until he didn't put his own car into the grid for some reasons. Okay, he's still in the pits. He will not get into the traffic because the closest car is Polovchuk in front, 10 seconds away, as Catania is 36 behind him. And so I think that Kedi may have made a good idea there. Okay, we can see that. But Polovchuk definitely didn't, because now Polovchuk is just behind the Maje already, and now he is stuck behind. As I want to follow this fight, but I also want to go quickly into 18th place. As you can see here, it is the Honda flashing the light, hoping that he will pass without trouble. Obviously, a car in the middle of your way is always going to be a trouble. Keenan goes for the pit. 32 minutes to go. Pozniakov, Kutrale, Garbi stay out. Bentley goes in, so teammates with the same tactic. Keenan and Zaktal at the very same moment to go went into the pits. Now Oddo has clean air to play with his own style. Actually in 4th place at the moment. And clean air that we may give him the position even on the 737 in 19th place for now. But as you can see from the pit count, few drivers didn't yet take the pit stop, mandatory pit stop. Polovchuk is now in 16th place, making the overtake on Sajetti, with Maje in the distance making the pit now. Remember that Sajetti still has to make it, because the pit marker there is from the pit lane start that he had. And speaking of undercut, something clearly went terribly wrong, because now Keenan is 1.5 seconds clear of Polovchuk in 15th place. And Keenan, you can see there, is now ahead of one of his rivals. So Keenan briefly behind Curtin though, so they are not safe. So even here the situation is that Keenan made the right call on Polovchuk. But on the other side, on the other hand, there is Curtin and Romain that still haven't made the pit stop. As Keenan goes on the inside, possibly Curtin giving the position without too much trouble. Even putting the blinker on, so effectively that's the case. Pozniakov and Kutrale go free, all three of them, because also Garby goes into the pits. All three of them went for the protective move, possibly seeing Keenan going into the pits. Even for them, it's a situation where they want to go into the pits as soon as possible, possibly trying to protect the position they are in. Not thinking about the possible traffic that may happen. Obviously, Keenan is 14 seconds. Okay, that's not Romain. Sorry, I thought that was Romain. It is Willen. All the way down the grid. Many drivers went into the pits actually, because Garby, Goodway, Pozniakov, Schneider, and Kutrale and Ippolito, all 6 of them into the pits they went. We will stay with the Irish driver for now, simply because he may be the leader of the race. After this tactical move, it goes a bit wider, but actually no curb jump, rather. Poznikov is already out of the pits, you can see the Honda shape into the distance, but Kutrale is also out of the pits. So we'll go with Kutrale's point of view, as he is behind Saggetti. And someone is still in the pits? Wait, that's a second pit. I'm quite sure that... Oh, Polovchuk made the drive-through for exceeding track limits! So we have our first victim of the drive-through. It is Pavel Polovchuk making a second pit for drive-through for exceeding track limits. He was fighting for the lead, and now he is fighting for possibly 7th place, even 8th maybe, because he is 15 seconds behind Zagdal, so effectively it may even be even worse. I was a bit confused because I saw Keenan, I saw Kutrale, but not Polovchuk passing by, and that's why that was a drive-through for exceeding track limits. It's the first one of the many. While we were looking at the 5 million, like Kutrale, Biagio Kutrale goes over the Italian and makes the overtake at the very last moment. Makes it clean. Clean is not on the track anymore. He is somewhere. And David Klein in 974 again, not really having a good time into the S's after the initial shunt into the barriers. This time he goes too much into the right and snap oversteer into the grass and then into the tarmac, over the tarmac. And he is in 19th place. I was speaking of comeback runs. Salvatore Di Catania from last after a quali ban to at this very moment 23rd. I think he already made the pit stop. Yes, that's why. So a long way to go still for Salvatore Di Catania, that had to make 43 seconds damage repair pit also. So that's the consequences from a quali ban, that incidents may happen, and he was faced with a 43 seconds damage for possibly some battles that he had. Unfortunately, I can't really see when, because the 84 is showing making a contact, but making 2 contacts with this one here. No, I can't see it anymore. Where am I? Okay, I'm somewhere. I lost myself. I was going into the replays. McLean again, massively into destroying the Total Energy advertisement. Possibly he's not happy with the product. Quite clearly, quite angry with the Total Energy products for some reason or another. Speaking of Total Energies, 24-hour spa tickets are on sale for whoever doesn't know. I don't know why I said it, I just thought that it was it was needed to be said. Not that they pay me yet. Total Energy, if you are seeing this video, please. No. But Zakal now currently behind Keddy, although still didn't make the pit, going for the very long run. And in this situation, a bit, it's a bit odd, because the entirety of the grid, and apart from Sagetti and Romain, made the pit. So this just leaves 3 drivers with a pit stop to go, as Pozniakov is the leader of the race, Keenan in second, Cutrale several seconds behind, 6 seconds behind, and then there is Garbi with Keddy and Zakdal, to then end with Prish and Goodway in your top 8. Because although it may still be into the top 10, not entirely sure about Romain. Well, not entirely sure, I'm sure Romain isn't. And so this leaves Pavel Polovchuk in 11th place, that will possibly get into 10th, even if he was fighting for the lead. So 10th place is a good place, not in comparison to where he was. Personal best being made by both by Pozniakov, Keenan, and Cutrale in 3rd place, in 5th place. Technical, effectively in 5th place. I should stop using the mental predictions because they don't work. Well, now 06.2 being done by both Pozniakov and Keenan, with 06.5 set by Cutrale in the 913 Ferrari. Back in the distance, 7 seconds behind, well, not 7, 6.2 seconds behind Keenan, being 1.2 behind the leader, the virtual leader. Goodway goes for the move into the hairpin into turn 12 and stays behind into 13. We go into splitter point of view as Romain goes into the pits and Otto is still out. I'm not sure how much it may pay off, as the 77 is still out of the pits. Cutrale makes the best lap, 05.9, first lap into the 05. With Garbi making the personal best, and that was Prisha going wide and leaving the 34 the space to make the overtake for 9th place, now 8th, as Romain went into the pits. And we go into the Aston Martin's wing to check the fact that Prisha doesn't make another move. He was thinking about it, a bit of a brake lock from the Aston. You clearly heard it. The tires locking, the rear tires locking. But Prisha stays behind Goodway. That will be for 2nd place in class and 8th place overall. Until we wait for Otto to make the pit stop at this very lap, because he doesn't have any choice. Otherwise he will be given a 130 seconds penalty, which is unideal, to say the least. And speaking of overtakes, there's also Alan Brown in the 738 Aston Martin, possibly trying the move. This I was seeing from the gaps, he was very, very close to the Porsche in front. As the Catania made a contact back into the field, as we can see from this very replay. One into the inside into turn 1, the Honda a bit wide, and the Aston trying to close the door when it was too late. So we go here, because Keddy is still in front of Zakdal. Situation is still stalled between the Swiss and the Swedish, with Garbi setting a second 0.5, and it is also the best one, 0.5.865 by the Swedish in the 2-1 Honda. Clearly stating that the Honda is... Whoa, Garbi, speaking of which, it went wide! After setting the best lap, so he has to brake here. He doesn't, he brakes way too late and goes for a half spin into turn 1. He loses a couple of spots, seconds, sorry. Not too much, but yet too many to now get, to now become a trouble for Cutrale, that made 0.6.4 in the last lap. So it was getting spicy for Garbi to get into the podium. Now it's a bit harder. Not impossible, obviously, not impossible. If he still makes 6 times per lap as he was making, it's definitely possible. But those 2 seconds would have helped quite massively. The Audi there with a loose rear. Polovchuk overtaking Otto without half measurements. Otto doesn't care about it. He tries the inside. He goes for the inside. He doesn't go for the inside. He was thinking about it. But you saw Polovchuk basically going sideways into the left-hander to make the position. Number 9 is chasing for as many positions as possible. He has to reach 6th place at the very least. And also to get as far as possible from Kasitarash in 11th. And now Otto being in a pro sandwich compared to earlier on where he was part of another sandwich. The Audi with the Bentley of Zakdal in 6th place. Kasitarash that is now trying the outside on Otto. Optimistic move by the Iranian driver. And also there is Brown thinking about it and makes it into the inside of the hairpin. For a brief moment he makes it. Then he goes back behind the Porsche's gearbox. Thinks about another inside. Maybe here. It doesn't yet happen. Oh, he goes massively into the curb. Over the curb. And loses several times, so now the fight is postponed to a hope not too far future. And also there is still the white Audi's wing. Okay, I lost connection for a microsecond because I lost 25 frames, I don't know why. As I was saying, KD gains a whole second on Zakdal, even if he went off track, so I wonder if it was a track limit violation. And Romain in 20th place is also thinking about making a move on the number 8 advisor Porsche. Leger Romain, Frenchman, that was starting all the way up into 17th, lost a couple of spots. Now he's trying to get back at least to a couple of them. Opposite to Curtin, who made 5 positions, starting from 24th. Biggest gainer of the whole evening is currently David Klein in 16th place and Di Catania in 17th, with 12 places each being gained. So they were starting basically side by side at the very beginning. For suspect a qualiban for both drivers, as one was starting 27th and now the other 28th. Without a... there isn't a... oh, I think I understand now. Yes, in fact, it is the Ukrainian that is not in the lobby anymore. So that's why there isn't a 29th driver. As Romain, speaking of which, is now closely following the Porsche into the hairpin. And he goes for the inside into 19th place. And at 24, overtakes number 8. Closes the inside as much as possible, not leaving the Porsche too much space to play with. And the idea seems to work, as effectively the Porsche has a pretty slow exit, and this means that 24 is now in front of the number 8, with Saggetti closely following behind in the 51 Porsche, battle for 20th place between two Porsches, Italian and Irish drivers. It will surely be a Porsche winning the fight. The question is which one of the two will be the upcoming one. I'm pretty sure that Saggetti has something to say to the car in front of him. Best lap being set by Saggetti is an 8.3, just a 9.8 by Curtin, so this clears some doubts on who will possibly make the move quicker than the other. But the problem is that you still have to make the move, and until the driver in front of you defends, you can't really overtake him. While we also go a bit in front of the grid, into 7th place. Thank you, Paolo Hungary, for the sub with Prime. Thank you a lot, mate. Thank you for the support to the channel. And speaking of support, remember that you can join the Patreon on FRL, and also join every race that happens into the community. There are still spots for many different events. Basically GT, this one here, the Pulsing Gear, the rookie, if you are a rookie, and maybe there is something still waiting for you for the 24 hour of Watkins on next Saturday. And if you see orange, please give space. Personal opinion only. As the Catania is off, as we see the Saggetti making the overtake, and you can see the Catania, speaking of which, they overtake him, as something went clearly wrong there for Saggetti, for the Catania. This is not in the lobby anymore. No! Where was he? Let me show him. Oh no, he goes for a halt. I can't really know, because I can't select him anymore. But he went for a halt. Not entirely sure the reason for it. So it's now 26 driver, still into the race, starting from 30. Still a good number. As the freeway wide, with Goodway as the leader of this train. You go into the light blue, lime, black, purple, white camera. Didn't miss any color. There are like all of them. The only thing that is missing is, I don't know, it's vertical variations. Maybe red. Speaking of red, the car behind, the red-white Audi, Porsche, trying to get on Goodway's path. Remember, they are fighting for the lead of their class championship. Speaking of class championship, as there are lights in the background, and I'm very curious about it. For now we'll stay into the wing, or we can go into the interior, because from here it's basically a VIP ticket to see the fight going on just in front of the Ukrainian driver that was fighting for the lead. Oh, a bit wide there for Pavel Plovchuk. The 82 losing the rear a bit. Well, more than a bit. Now it's already twice that has happened. Fries, that was another one. I think he really used too much the rear tires by trying to make as many overtakes as possible in as little time as possible, as it was clearly evident during the battle with Otto for 9th, where he went sideways into the left left hand corner. Lights into the background. And the tower that is changing colors. That's something I never saw. The first time I'm noticing the tower is changing from in every color. How did no one talk about it when this track was released? How am I knowing it now? Even after yesterday's race. How did I notice something colorful changing colors? This is mind blown. Okay, apart from distracting from the lights, I should stop getting distracted by the lights, but they are so cool. Brown goes for the move on Ippolito, and Ippolito goes a bit straight there. This fight is still going on. That's for 14th place. Aston on the outside, into the right hand corner. Pushes, the Italian pushes a bit the white and orange and red and blue and black car number 738 on the outside. He wants to take the position home without questioning it. He just wants it. And it's not a question. He wants it. End of the sentence. He is fighting however he can to maintain it. For now he's doing a good job by doing it. 9 minutes to go. Suspect there are 5 laps. And they are still one after the other for position as the Aston gives a look into the inside. Ippolito a bit wide into the exit, with Brown way cleaner into turn 1. And then there is the S with Aston basically side by side. For a brief moment the Porsche completely overshooting the S. In fact it goes a bit wide on entry on the very final part of the said S. Again a bit wide on entry. The Aston is clearly working it a bit more calmly compared to the Italian that is possibly trying to scratch his tires as much as possible. He can do it in the Porsche. He has the advantage that he can push the car however he pleases. The question is that sometimes during the race the cliff happens and it doesn't ask for your opinion. It just happens and you can't do anything about it. The Porsche is one of those cars that really lacks the cliff, and it doesn't tell you when it happens. You just know it because it gives you the bill at the end of your dinner. Currently the Porsche still in front of Brown. This fight for 14th place is also the fight for 5th place on class. And I can't still watch the leaderboard because otherwise I miss something. As Alan Brown still side by side, sorry, with the Porsche. At this point it's just a matter of when the Porsche will give up. And I don't think the answer is sometime short. Because there are 7 minutes to go, possibly the Porsche will give up in 10 minutes. With Aston still following. At this point he goes on the inside. Possibly tries the move there, it doesn't. Because the Porsche basically brakes 30 meters later and still makes the corner. And again, we got this time into the cockpit view from the British driver. Be slow into the S. So possibly that's the weak point of the Aston driver, but very quick into the technical section compared to the Porsche. Maybe I got a brief moment to just look at the leaderboard. Tiny moment of calmness gives me the time to see that in the Pro it's Rumnitsev with Di Catania and Keenan, your top 3 in the championship, 72, 62 and 61. While in silver it is the overtake happening between Brown and the Italian, with this time Alan Brown making it after what has been a fight lasting possibly 15 laps. The Aston Martin is finally in front of the Porsche, and now he has to use the final sector to its advantage. It is also the one where the Aston is a tiny bit quicker than the Porsche. It was clear during the chasing. Will Heinz drive through for exceeding track limits at the very final moments of the race. Pretty overtakes Goodway. Also, side-by-side situation there into the right-hander. Oh, they're a little bit wider into the S. Completely cuts away into the inside, but we're also gaining a track limit violation and losing 9 times already on the car in front. So the 852 now has to defend against the Honda that doesn't even ask for it. It just takes it into the inside. It goes, and Polovchik is now in 8th place. 82 now following the 34. So Prishir lost 2 positions in basically the same moment. And Polovchuk is now in 8th place. But that was some heavy fighting happening between the Ukrainian and the German driver. As I want also to see, there was a contact between the 97 and the 974. The 974 going a bit wider and colliding with the Aston, and the Aston making the position not even into turn 1, but even earlier than that. And there is also a fight going on because Klein is coming to a halt. Never mind. Okay, he stops. Too many drivers are stopping in the middle of the race. Not entirely sure why. No, Michael. This is the poor sim gear with Pro and Silver drivers combined. And your leader is currently Andriy Pozniakov in the 86 Honda. Leader of the Pro class. Pozniakov that is also in... let me check. In... I can't find him. I can't... Okay, in 12th place, because he made a DNF in round 1 and round 3, and just a 4th place into round 2. So now Andrei Pozniakov is in 12th place with 22 points only. Then following behind is Terence Keenan, that will become the leader of the championship, because he is now in 3rd place after a win in round number 3 at Alton Park. He will now become the leader of the championship, because the Catania is not in the lobby anymore. Rumicev didn't start the race either, and his opponent behind are also behind him, because the next one is Malker Garbi with 58 points, then QL, and then it is Zakdal. While in silver class, your leader is currently with 71 points and 3 podiums. Francesco Sagetti currently sitting in just 18th place after a quali ban. After a start from the pit lane for essentially not putting the car on track in time. And 2nd place is Chris Jones in a 792 Honda. Very down the grid. Did he make a drive-through? And the answer is yes, he had to make a drive-through for exceeding track limits. Speaking of Sagetti, he's trying the overtake on Romain. That would help his championship, and he does so into the hairpin in turn 11. And then in 3rd place is Nigel London, not in the race. So this one here is going to be a round of scaffolding around the grid. But for now we'll go with Pozniakov, your leader of the race, for the whole duration of this round. He has been in the lead since Keenan made a tiny little mistake that cost him several attempts that were just enough to make him fall back into second. Initially it was third, and then it became second after Polovchuk, now in 8th place, had a drive-through for exceeding track limits. So this is basically the summary of the race in few corners. Your leader in silver is currently Goodway in the 34 Aston, with Prish and Oddo in second and third. Possibly with a little mistake there. But we are now into the horseshoe. Final moments of the hour. 28 laps will be completed. And after an astonishing job, without a single mistake, Andriy Poznikov, number 86 Honda, makes his win in the Circuit of the Americas with 2.2 seconds in front of Keenan, with Cutrale coming in third place, just in front of Garbi, that was gaining massively in the very final moments, but not in time to make it into third, with Marco Cedi effectively keeping the position number 5. And the 737 Audi driver is going for the top 5, with Alex Zakdal in 6th place. Then we have the leader of the silver drivers that will get side by side with Polovchuk. Bit of a drag race with Goodway in 7th, Polovchuk in 8th, Prish in 9th, with Antonino Oddo in 10th, with Cassita Rush in 11th, completing the race. Then Krishnader is going to get position number 12, just outside the silver podium in the number 14. Then there is Juwig in the 70 McLaren in 13th place. Alan Brown, after a lifelong battle, he also made the best his personal best, 07.6, and concludes in 14th. Ippolito in 15th, Catania in 16th. That is now just after the horseshoe. 97, last of the pros on track. In 15th place. And then there is in 16th place, sorry, and then Sagetti in 17th, with Romain in 18th, and Curtin completing the lead lap in 19th position in the number 8 Advisor Porsche. That will come into turn 20 in 19th. Then there is Mage in 20th, Blanchett in 21st. Many penalties. Wait, they were not the final classification. Penalties, massive penalties have been applied to all the drivers, because there was effectively live stewarding. I forgot about it, completely honest. It is Antonino Oddo losing the top 10, now in 11th, after a 15 seconds penalty. Then there is Alan Brown in 14th, and Ippolito in 15th, so they effectively don't lose any position after their penalty. And the Romain that stays in 18th. There is Longden. Okay, apparently Longden, I didn't see him. So sorry for it. Longden is into the race. And your podium top into third place has received a 30-second penalty after crossing the line, but he was already in 20 seconds, so it doesn't really change. We lay in 5 seconds, but it doesn't really change. Di Catania had too many seconds to count. Drive-through for QL and YZ, so I suspect that's why QL wasn't in the lobby anymore. And this means that the equilibrium of the race didn't change too much after the penalties, with just Antonino Oddo losing a position and coming after the line in 11th place, with all the drivers effectively keeping their gap even after the penalty. So this was your round number 4 of the Pure Sim Gear GT3 season. Round number 4 that is over tonight. Then next one is going to be Snetterton, with then Monza and Hungaroring completing the championship. For now, I also want to see if there is anyone for maybe some interview. I'm not entirely sure. I will just ask in chat. Not in caps lock, please. Okay. What I'm searching for. So this was the race for this evening. No problem, mate. Pleasure doing it. Still here. So next one is going to be Snetterton. For how much I dislike it. That isn't a but. It's just terrible track. And I don't know why I just hate the British tracks. That's on me. Apart from Brent Setch, but just because it was a fun ride into the Porsche 4 hour. That's it. That's the only way I can suffer Brent Setch. And then will be Monza. So possibly we will see the battle for who has the quickest car in a single straight line. And then Hungaroring will complete the championship in a bit of a very fair track, considering that Hungaroring doesn't really have a single car having the best straw. It's rather a bit of a combination of the many things. Doesn't seem anyone is going to get into the interview. I will just wait a minute still. Obviously, you don't have to win the race for whoever wants. But the answer is probably no. As always, I'm being bolded. And anyway, next time you will hear of me is going to be next Tuesday for the rookies at Snetterton, and then Friday is going to be the Pursim Year GT3, and then Saturday is the big one with the 24-hour Watkins Glen set to start. And if you want, Tuesday there is also the British GT. Speaking of British tracks, I won't. Oh no, it's going to be terrible for me. Okay, Donington is the only one that I like. Okay, Donington is the only one that can be saved from the absolute nuke I will put on every single British track. But that's just something that my personal idea, and also the right one. But anyway, I will see you all on track on Tuesday, and off track on Tuesday and Friday, and then back on track on Saturday, and also off track because I will also do commentary and racing. It's going to be funny for me, for my mental health that is going to explode. And if you want the rest of the space in every single series that I mentioned until now, but until next Tuesday, have a good remaining of the week, and see you all next time. Bye!